Hello guys, hope all of you are doing great. In this part of the video, we'll be seeing how to display a pattern like this on the screen, or how to approach to solve a problem like this. Okay, this pattern could be anything. In this example or in this video, I'll be solving the problem for this particular pattern, but the pattern could be any arbitrary pattern. You need to know the approach to solve this problem. Once you know the approach, you can write the program for any pattern. And that's what we're going to learn in this part of the video. Okay, let's first see the pattern. Okay, so here I'm showing you the same pattern but of different sizes. Now see here, the same pattern where we have to display only one star. Maybe here we have to display 3 stars, but you see the size is actually not determined by the the number of stars. Rather, you can say it is the number of rows. Okay, so for example here the size is n is equal to say 1. It means we have to display only one row, and that row will contain 1 stars. Here you can say the size is 2 actually. See, 2 rows we have to display, and the bottommost row will contain that many stars as the size of the the pattern. Here n equal to 2 means 2 rows we have to display, and the bottommost row will contain 2 stars. Okay, and here you can see now it is n equal to 3. It means 3 rows and the bottommost row will contain 3 stars. Here it is n equal to 4, and obviously it is n equal to 5 here. Now see, from here, one thing you notice that I have actually arranged the stars or the symbols that we want to display or in some on some grid. Okay, so if it is n equal to 1, that grid contains only 1 row. N equal to 2 means 2 rows. N equal to 3 means 3 rows. Here the number of columns, that is actually irrelevant. I mean, I don't say irrelevant, but when we generate these patterns of stars, specifically in this example, number of columns will be automatically adjusted. But then also from this given n, you can actually compute the number of columns which will be there in the given pattern. Okay, but just for the sake of an exercise, you can see mental exercise, we can deduce a formula. See, if n equal to 1, how do you do that actually? You see here, say we just write here n, and then here we write say number of say, just for the completeness, number of rows, how many rows based on n, and say number of columns, how many columns based on n. So if you see this pattern, simply you can note them down actually first to see if there is any pattern. If n equal to 1, we know number of rows 1, number of columns 1. If n equal to 2, number of rows 2 we know, and how many columns we have? We have 1, 2, 3 columns in the pattern, right? Minimum 3 columns should be there. Now, if n is equal to 3, then we have 3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns are there. Already you are seeing, now started seeing this pattern, right? So 3 rows will be there and 5 columns will be there. If n equal to 4, then number of rows will be 4, number of rows will be 4, and number of columns will be, yes, that will be 7. And if it is 5, then it will be 5 and it will be 9. Let's count for 5. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Right? Now from here, from these numbers, you can directly deduce a formula. What is the formula for number of rows? It is same as n. So for number of rows, it will be same as n. Whatever it is n, that many rows. For number of columns, you see what it is. You can see, if you think for a moment, it will be like 2n minus 1, I guess. So 2 into 1, see, n equal to 1 means 2 into 1 minus 1 is 1. So n equal to 2 means 2 into 2, 4. 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. N equal to 3 means 6 minus 1, 5. 4 means 8 minus 1, 7. 5 means 10 minus 1, 9. So these are the formulas. Like you can, like, immediately, as soon as you know n, you can tell, like, in the pattern how many rows will be there, how many columns will be there. Okay, up to this point things are clear. Now let's like see how we can print this this pattern given an n. The n will be user input, and based on that will be dynamic. Our program will write the Python program so that it generates this pattern on the screen using print function, certainly. Okay. Now here the important point is, as soon as I tell you a pattern, see, n equal to 1 means I started writing these stars from in that cell itself. Only one cell is there in the table or in the grid, and in that cell itself I have started writing this star. But if n equal to 2, I left 1 in the first row. I left 1 space blank, and then I started from here. For n equal to 3, I left 2 space for the first row, 2 space blank, and then 1 star here. You see the pattern here. So from here, the like if you see it for a moment and if you want to solve it, then two things you should observe here. Like given an n, from which position you have to start displaying the stars in a particular row, right? Because if n equal to 5, it changes, like the starting position changes, right? So n equal to 4 means the starting position of the starting position of the stars in the rows changes here. So one thing that you have to deduce is what is the starting point of printing the stars in a row. And then the next question is how many stars you want to display in that row. So if it is the first row, you want to display 1 star. If it is second row, 2 stars, like that. How many stars? Seeing the number of stars in a particular row is knowing the number of stars in a particular row is quite straightforward. Whatever it is the row number, from that many stars we want to display. If it is row number is like say 5, see row number 0, you can start from 0, so n minus 1 means you have to display n stars. Let's now try to get those two values just by noting down some of the noting down the values from these examples, and let's see whether we can derive a formula from that or not. Okay, so what are things that we are interested in right now? Okay, let me do one thing here just for reference. I'll be copying everything here, and again I'll be pasting it here. I think it will be useful a bit. Okay, now let's do it here in this way. So what are the things that we're interested in? Okay, so we are interested in, let's say we are interested in the current row number I, and we want to know in that row what is the starting point, like from which index we want to start printing the stars, and we want to know like how many stars that we want to print. Okay, so these three parameters, we just want to see if there is a relationship among these three parameters or not. Okay, so let's go back to our first example. There is a flight. Okay, so I'm doing a retake here. So let's go back to our first example here, n equal to 1 star. So if it is 1, okay, let's directly take this example, n equal to 5. Okay, so for n equal to 5, how many what is the initial value of I? So these will be our i's here. Okay, so here I equal to 0 means this particular row we are talking about. I equal to 1 means this row. I equal to 2 means this row. I equal to 3 means this row, and I equal to 4 means this row. This particular variable goes from 0 to n minus 1. Right, now for each I we want to see these values here. Okay, so for I equal to 0 when n equal to 5, so these things are constant. Okay, n equal to 5, we're talking about n equal to 5 example. So when I equal to 0, the starting point will be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. The fourth index, from here we want to start printing the stars. And how many stars we want to display? If I equal to 0, we just want to display 1 star, isn't it? 0, we want to compute it from fourth position. Fourth position means fourth index, index number 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. From that index we want to print only 1 star. Now if I equal to 1, then how many stars we want to print? Okay, if I equal to 1, then first thing is the starting point. Starting point is obviously here, it is the third index, and from there we want to print 2 stars, consecutive, like alternate stars, like star space, like that. Okay, so if I equal to 2, then the starting position, see here, I equal to 2, the starting position is 2, and the number of stars are, as you can guess, 3 here. See, there will be 3 stars here. I equal to 2, there will be 3 stars. Okay, now I equal to 4, there will be how many? What is the starting position for I equal to 4? Sorry, I equal to 3. I skipped one. I equal to 3 here. So what will be the starting position? Starting position is 1, and we have to display 4 stars here. I equal to 3, starting position 1, 4 stars, alternate stars. Okay, so starting position is 1, and here I have to display 4. And I equal to 4, starting position is 0, and we have to display 5 stars. Now, can we put everything inside a formula? Like in a row, like if we know the row number, because we already know how many rows we have to print, right? So from given n, we can deduce like how many rows. If n equal to 5, 5 rows, n equal to 10, 10 rows. But inside a specific row, like what should be the pattern, from where we have to start and how many we have to print, right? So that thing we have noted down here. These are our observations. Now from these observations, can we like come up with a formula? Let's see what will be the formula for SP. SP will be, see, I equal to 0, SP is 4. So what you can think it of as, like, if you think for a moment and from your experience, immediately it will come to your mind like n minus 1 minus I. If you think for a moment, it works. See here, if I equal to 0, n is equal to 5. This is a fixed number, okay? N equal to 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 minus 0 is 4 minus 0 is 4. So 4. You take any value, say I equal to 3. If I equal to 3, say for example, I is equal to 3. In this case, what will be SP? SP will be n minus 1, that is a constant sort of. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. So if I equal to 3, your starting point is 1. That is index number 1. From index number 1, you have to start your printing. And how many you have to print, that is given by this number of stars. So what is this number of stars formula? Number of stars formula is quite straightforward. You can see here, if it is 3, it is 4. If it is 2, it is 3. If it is 1, it is 2. It is 0, it is 1. It is 4, it is 5. It means it is simply I plus 1. Whatever it is I, that many plus 1, that many numbers of stars you have to display. Alternate stars. Stars, space, like that. So these two formulas are important. Now, once we have these, you see here, for any given row, this row will be like from 0 to n minus 1. For any given row, I is now, irrespective of the values of I, this formula works. You put any value here, I, you will get the corresponding specification, like how many, from where you have to start printing and how many you have to print. Got it? So now it's our time. Now, if you think for a moment, like how we can put them inside a code, now like how to write the program for that. Okay. So if you think for a moment, you'll be seeing, okay, here we have to iterate over the rows. Actually, rows, like first we have to make use of a loop that actually iterates over these rows here. So it is quite straightforward. If n equal to 5, that loop should run 5 times from 0 to 4, something like that. If n equal to 10, that loop should run 10 times from 0 to 9, like that. So that loop we can write very easily. So let's start with that simple part, and then we'll be seeing like how you can make use of these SP and number of stars, this information to generate this pattern of stars. So first we'll be simply displaying these rows. Okay, so let's begin. So our input is n. So n is equal to, you consider anything, 5. Now we want a loop that iterates over these rows. So we'll be using a for loop. You can use a while loop also. So for I in range, I told you about this function in my for loop video. I in range, it gives you from 0 to whatever n, that is explicit. So you write 0 to 5. It means it will iterate over like 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so and here you print simply for the time being, since we just want to make sure whether it is iterating over 0 to 4 or not. Okay, so let's do this thing. You can see that it is displaying you the numbers from 0 to 4. So here directly I wrote 5. So instead of that, let's make use of this n. So this time also it will give you the numbers from 0 to 4. It's taking some time. 0 to 4. Okay, right. So you can change this number to anything. If I write here 10, it will be giving me the numbers 0 to 9. 0 to 9, right? Clear? Okay, now we know sort of like how to generate these I's for each row. But the thing is, the question is still there. Like, what about these information, starting point and the number of stars? Now, where these things are coming, like in each row, we have to do that. In each row, we have to first display starting point. Means till that starting point, we have to display some stars. If I equal to 0, our starting point is 4. It means up to 3, we have to display some, blanks. And then at this starting point, we have to display the star. You got the point? So up to the starting point, just up to the cell just before the starting point, we have to display conjugated blanks, and then from the starting point we have to go on printing like the star and blank like that. So let's now move one step further and display only the first star just by making use of this information. Starting point is equal to n minus 1 minus I. That will be done again inside a, because this n minus 1 minus I, that's a that's not like one thing. I mean, that many times we have to repeat displaying these spaces. Got the point? Okay, let's now make use of it. So since it is not only one task, so what we have to do is we have to make use of another loop here. That is called as, this is called as nested loops. Okay, that is loops inside loops. It's not a new concept actually. It is just the same loops. Only thing is that you're putting the code of one loop inside another loop. But the conceptually it is just a loop. Okay, so for that reason, let's now write here another loop. Say for j in range, now what we want is, in what range we want from 0 to whatever it is. 0 to n minus 1 minus I here. So what we'll be doing is range, so n is a constant, minus 1 minus I, whatever it is the value of I in, at that point. So up to that point, see, we don't want n minus 1 minus I to be generated. Okay, so for that reason, it will generate actually n minus 1 minus I plus 1. All right, so if it is confusing, you just put the brackets around them, n minus 1 minus I. Okay, so that will be excluded, the last number here. Okay, if it is the case, then what we want to do for j in range 0 to n minus 1 minus I, so what we do is we want to here print, we want to display some stars. We want to display some spaces here. Okay, we want to print that many spaces. Now once that loop is over, what we want to do, once we go out of the loop, then what we want to do is we want to display print, and then we want to display, let's say we just display only one star. Okay, just the first star. So that's all. Now here one thing you have to remember, like by default print actually prints everything in a new line, but we don't want that. We want to print these spaces on the same line. So like we will be writing here and is equal to nothing actually. You just print the space and that's all. Okay, here also for the, okay, here what we want is after displaying the star, we want to go to the next line. Let's say the output here first, and you will come to know how things are working right now. You see here, this first diagonal is coming here, n equal to 10. If I give here small number, n equal to 3 maybe, you will be seeing here this output 3. This diagonal line is coming. You see here from this n equal to 3 means this is n equal to 3. These lines are coming. So if I now, instead of displaying here a space, if I display some other character, you'll be seeing that actually I just have finished doing this triangle here. Okay, so let me display here some other characters other than space. I could have easily done it, right? I mean, I can write there a Z, and let's see. Now see, Z space is like Z now. Z star, Z star, star. Here you see this here. Like space, star, space, and star, right? I mean, for the last row, there is no space there. So here, for the last row, there is no Z here. Got the point? Point clear? Yes. Now, only thing left is now, okay, we have like, we landed at the right point there in that particular row, like from where we have to start printing. Next question is how many, right? And that question is answered by this I plus 1. And that thing we have to do inside the same, for the same row. Like after printing this, after this will actually print those Z's or those star, those spaces there in the same row. Okay, so in the same row, after we print those spaces, we have to actually start printing those stars there. Okay, so again we can write for j in range, and then what we want. How many stars do we want, right? So we already know like how many stars we know for a given I, for a given row or I, we want I plus 1 stars, right? So for that reason, what I'll be writing here, we'll be writing 0, I plus 1 stars we want to generate. So I can directly write here 0, I plus 1. Since we're starting from 0, so I plus 1 minus 1 will be actually I plus 1. You got the point? I guess it's clear by this time, and then what we want to do there is we just want to display their stars. We want to display their star and a space together. Star, space, star, space, star, space, like that. Okay, and once it is done, then we don't want this star to be there. Actually, what we want there is Here also this star and space, we don't want to be displayed in a separate line. So we'll be writing and is equal to nothing here. And at the end, like once that these two loops are over, like see these two loops are there inside these outer loop. Okay, so once the body of the outer loop, one iteration of the body of the outer loop is over, we are simply displaying print some nothing basically. So nothing means actually, since by default that new line character will be inserted, so automatically things will go to the next line there. Okay, so for that reason we have to write this print statement, and it should be inside the for loop itself. At the end of the iteration, one iteration, we want like each iteration should bring the cursor to the beginning of the next line. So that's why I have written this print nothing basically. Now see, it should work. It is doing the work, isn't it? This Z, just get rid of them. It's making the picture ugly. Now you see star, 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 star. Now it's as simple as that. I mean, I just now can change this value n equal to 5. Now it's giving me this star, this pattern. I can write here n equal to 10. Most probably it will fit the screen, and it is displaying this pattern of stars. So displaying a pattern of star, why people are asked to display, like what is the practical use of it? Practical use of it, you can think of like beauty, maybe what someone might say that. But the thing is, like if you see practically, like what is the practical use of writing a program like this is, your practice. I mean, how do you develop your logic? Only thing is, in your question it is given that okay, you display a pattern like this, given n, you automatically display this pattern. The pattern could be anything, but just by looking at the pattern, what you do is you derive some formulas, and those formulas you ask the computer to execute those formulas and generate the pattern. So basically it is for logic building, and that's all. I mean, and how to use your tools that you know from the programming language, how to use those tools to implement your logic. So that is the main purpose of asking new people to develop some patterns or generate some patterns like this. And usually it comes when people are learning loops, displaying these patterns, the exercise actually comes under that category, because it involves certainly it involves the use of loops, not only in one level, maybe in multiple levels there. So here it is a loop inside loop, nested loop, and this is another way of learning. I mean, it just give you one example. Okay, now if you try to solve this example, automatically you learn what is the actual need of nested loops and how to use them. Okay, so I hope people have now understood the approach, not exactly this program. Okay, like your pattern could be anything. Someone might ask you to generate another pattern, maybe the same pattern but upside down. Maybe someone is asking you okay, write a program to say, you can try this actually just to check your understanding. Write a program to generate this pattern, say this pattern, some number of stars here and here, one, and then here and here, and last one is here. Okay, so upside down. Okay, so for this pattern, what should be the formula? I mean, obviously one formula is like as many, n will be say 4. It means 1 2 3 4 rows will be there. But the thing is, in the first row you have to display 4 stars, second row you have to display 3 stars, like that. Number of stars are getting reduced. The pattern is different here than this pattern. So from the pattern itself, you have to first derive the formula, and then you have to write the code for those formulas. That's the main point. Okay guys, then that much only. Hope you people have understood something from this video and you learned something from this video. So if you like the video, please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with your friends. If you have any doubts or queries, please feel free to ask me questions in the comment section. If you have some patterns that you are finding it difficult to actually write the program for, then you can let me know that thing also in the comment section. Okay guys, then that much only in this part of the video. See you guys with some new content in the next video. Till then, have a nice day.